Welcome to Exception Seekers, the show where we challenge conventional views on youth mental health and explore stories and experiences that offer alternative perspectives. Well, I'm so excited today to be sitting down with Alhan Rahimi. She is a language professional with over 20 years of experience as a translator and interpreter. And she brings such a unique perspective on language and its connection to our families and just the generational links it gives us throughout our ancestry. She is an author of children's books, content creator, and YouTuber, and just has some really interesting things to share. So stay tuned. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Being a young person can be tough. Raising a young person can be tough. Whether it's school stress, family dynamics, or navigating challenging emotions, everyone needs the right support. That's where Sound Youth Counseling comes in. We specialize in helping children ages 4 and up through individual, parent, and family counseling tailored to meet each person's unique needs. From tackling tough issues at home or school, to providing customized workshops and professional development for teachers and community leaders, we're here to make a difference. At Sound Youth Counseling, we believe young people deserve a safe, welcoming, and accepting space to grow and thrive, and every family deserves the tools to support them. If you're looking for support, visit soundyouthcounseling.ca and see how we can help. Sound Youth Counseling, empowering individuals, supporting families, and building stronger communities. Welcome to another episode of Exception Seekers. Thanks to everyone for joining us. And today I sit down with Alhan Rahimi, and I'm so looking forward to speaking with you today. I've been, looking forward to this for a few months now. So thank you for your time.
Thanks a lot for the suggestion to have this sitting together and chatting. And yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I've been following your career as an author for a while and
Okay.
all the children's books that you have written, but I know you do many other things, wear many hats beyond that. So I would love to hear a little bit of your journey.
So my background academic wise is in translation and interpreting. That's
Mhm.
always been something I love doing. And I studied that. My master's degree is in translation and interpreting. But when I keep on doing that, and I'm always trying to improve in my career as a language specialist and interpreter and translator. But when my children, Hella especially, the first one was very young, I thought about writing this children's book that I couldn't find. It was a topic that was happening around us at that time where we had many Syrian refugees come. And the idea of writing a book was there in my mind as I was growing up, but I didn't know how to do it, how to go about it. And then I researched a little bit, found out there's something called self-publishing.
Mhm.
So I just went for it and did it step by step. It was a very challenging process with the first book because I really didn't know what I was doing. I was gathering information and learning things as I was discovering them.
Mhm.
But then after the first one, I decided to take a course, learn it all at once, have everything together.
Okay. Yes.
And then, yeah, the other books that came after that, now I think there's 16 of them altogether.
Wow.
Were just a piece of cake because it's easier when you just learn from people who have gone this path before you,
Mhm.
and then you just implement what
Yes.
has
Wow.
proven to work. Yeah.
16 books. That's so many.
Yeah,
Yes.
but it's just so easy now that I know how to do it, you know? It's just
Yep.
the very first one was the most difficult one, but
Yes.
the rest were nothing like that. So, yeah, I've been very blessed and lucky to be able to do that. So, it's my side. So I started it as a hobby, and
Hmm.
now I'm impressed with how it turned out and
Yes.
people's reception of it. So, yeah. So
And and so the first book started because you were looking for this book on a topic and you couldn't find it. So your books are sort of eh, you're kind of driven from things that you wanted to be able to read to your daughters but couldn't find.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
mostly, especially the first one, and the rest of them are mostly faith-based. So
Okay.
they're very niche and specific to the Baha'i community. However, they're available on Amazon. Anyone can access them,
Hmm.
but the same audience has been wanting more and more, especially for the younger age group. So yeah, I put my focus into that, but I still have some books that are general books,
Right.
like one about my preemie sister, an experience of an older sibling having a preemie child. That's another thing I couldn't find. There are
Hmm.
many books about preemies, but it's about them, but it was never, I couldn't find anything to read to my older child who is a
Yeah.
sister or a sibling of
Yeah.
that preemie, and how that child is seeing the world when that
Mm.
preemie appears into it, right? And with the
Mm.
mother being away taking care of the preemie and NICU for all these weeks, so all that through the lens
Right.
of an older sibling. So again, that was something I thought of, I couldn't find,
So
and I
you
wrote
did.
about. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So the books that are more faith-based for people who aren't familiar, um, can you tell us a little bit about what they might find in that in those books, or maybe why it was important to write some books for younger children, talking about that?
For those who are not looking to educate their children with the Baha'i teachings, it could be just an additional
Hmm.
information for them if they're interested in learning about other people, other backgrounds.
Hmm.
However, some of them, because they're celebrations, it's much easier to like incorporate, and some of the bookstores have them that are about like a gift giving time, which we call ayamiha. And that's a time where children like to receive gifts, give gifts to anyone, any of their friends. And yeah, it talks about that. Now, for me personally, because we live in a smaller town with a smaller population and a smaller faith-based community. So it was important for me to just raise my children and help them understand what these family values are and what the faith that we're trying to promote in our family is
Hmm.
about. So yeah, just I thought books would be the easiest way for me personally to help
Yeah.
them.
I
And
love.
yeah, and then I was surprised that many other families around the world have used these books, and they keep
Mhm.
sending me pictures of their children
Oh,
reading
that's
them.
so
So
neat.
yeah.
Yes. I I love how your brain is so creative to say, well, this is the simplest way for me to do it is just publish a book. And then we have that information. Yes.
Yeah, well,
It's- and you like um your interest in writing, you said you kind of had always had that in the back of your mind.
yes. I would write things when I was younger, but never a book. And I'm still not a daily active writer, maybe in that sense. I'm not a
Mhm.
person who journals, but
Mhm.
every now and then I'd write something. And
Yeah.
I liked writing stories when I was younger. At a time in my life, I would even write poetry, but that
Okay.
stopped also. So yeah, and I was always fascinated with every book I'd hold. I was like, how much
Mhm.
work did that person put into this book when they,
Yes.
and what were the steps that they had to take to publish a book? So yeah,
Yes.
these were some questions that I thought of, but I didn't think I could do that. But
And then there
no,
you
it's
are.
simple. Yeah.
Yes. You mentioned too, just like, well, I'm curious, like, did you always have an interest in language? Like, did you grow up speaking multiple languages? Or
Yeah, so that I did grow up until the age of 4. I only spoke my mother language, which is Persian. And then I entered school, which was Arabic, and the society was Arabic where
okay.
I lived. So in the Middle East. And I had to learn Arabic at the age of 4 just by entering school and being like thrown
Wow.
into it.
Yes.
And surprisingly, now my Arabic is much stronger than my mother language because it stayed the language of my academics throughout, school and the university on my undergrad. So, and then English came to the mix when I was right before university. I was just about to graduate school when I learned English as well. But as a child, it was just the norm. Like I'd be speaking Persian to my
Mm,
parents and then go to school and switch to Arabic mode altogether. So
right.
the switching between languages, I think, came naturally to me as I was growing up.
Hmm.
And yeah, I thought, why not? And I enjoyed it. So I enjoyed even like it happened a
Yeah.
few times. I think that when I was younger, I'd be in situations where someone didn't speak the other language and
Mm,
just naturally I'd start interpreting for them. And I thought,
right.
wow, I like doing this. So
Yes. And then
and then
English,
I
like,
studied
was
it.
that through like formal education or at that point, um, like more social? How did you learn English then?
Oh, yeah. Well, so we had it in school, but not strongly. So our
Okay.
teachers would teach us English, but with Arabic instruction. Like I
Oh,
hear this
yes.
happens a lot with English schools here where some people learn French and they're like, we were taught in English, but just learn the grammar and all. So my
Yes.
English grammar understanding of the English like sentence structure was very good, but when I wanted to actually speak it, I couldn't.
Hmm.
So I took like extra, like I dedicated a summer. My parents helped me to go to what we had called, what was it called? The British Council at that time.
Okay.
And I did like a month intensive course with them. And then they had a tutor for me to like continue for another 2 months. So like the entire summer was dedicated for English.
Okay. Yes.
And that was like kind of the boost of, okay, now I hear someone, I can actually understand what they're saying a little bit better. And yeah,
Yes.
so that's how the English, because I found out at that age that, oh my God, the world is in English and many people
Mm,
speak English and I don't speak this language and I really need to learn it. So,
right.
so yeah, I asked my parents for more courses and stuff.
Yes. That's interesting, your experience. I remember like when I was growing up, we didn't have French until grade three. And it was what was called like core French. So it was just, an hour a day or something, but all instructed in English.
Yeah.
And you'd kind of just get like a worksheet with, Halloween words or I don't know. It was it really didn't teach me how to speak the language. Yes. The
Yeah,
British, so the British Council, did you have to go somewhere for this, or was it like in a program in like where you grew up?
no, it was
Like
a
a
program
school?
where I grew up, and
Oh,
the
okay.
curriculum, English curriculum at the public schools were all like British based.
Okay.
So even coming to Canada was a different journey for me because I learned words like trousers, and I came here, it was,
All
oh, I
right.
have to say pants, or like,
Okay.
the little differences. All my upbringing with the English formal, like at school, was
Right.
in the British English terminology. So yeah, the British Council was just an institution there, or I don't
Okay.
know what kind of an organization it was that offered
Yes.
English courses to people.
Okay. And where
So
is it that you grew up?
Qatar.
In Qatar. Okay.
Yeah, I grew
Okay.
up in, I was born
Yeah.
and raised in Qatar. Yeah,
And then
so
and you did university like undergrad there.
yes.
And then what brought you to Canada?
Um, my husband, who was at the time in the Middle East, had already come to Canada and studied in Canada and everything. And then he
Okay.
went back for work, and then we met there. And a few years later, we came back to Canada
All right.
together. Yeah. And
Yes.
it was during that time where I wanted to do my master's degree. And he thought, well, it's time for you to um, go and experience life in countries other than the Middle East because I wanted to. Initially, I was planning to study my master's in one of the Middle Eastern countries.
Okay.
So I did that in England. And that also was a huge boost for my English in the British
Yeah,
environment.
in British. That's
Yeah.
right. It just continued.
And then I came to Canada. It was so interesting because I landed in Montreal.
Mhm.
Everyone spoke French, but they also spoke English. But when I moved to Ontario after that, I found the difference in the English. So I had to like retrain my ears again because I was used to hearing English from the French speakers. And it was
Interesting.
so different.
Right.
And even that some of the terminologies used in Ontario are different than the ones used in Quebec when it comes to English. So it was a
Okay.
whole different learning again for me.
Yes, I wouldn't have known. Yeah, that's interesting. I wouldn't have known that. So you sort of had English from a more of like a British instruction, and then
Yes.
English in Montreal, and then
Yeah,
yeah, English in Ontario.
Ontario. Yes,
Yes.
yes. So
Okay.
interesting. Yeah. And
Yes.
I'm curious always about it. I was like, oh, why are they pronouncing this like this and not like that? And yeah, I used to
Mhm.
ask a lot of questions and now it just becomes second nature after a while.
Yes. It is interesting hearing like I don't experience that because I only speak English and I grew up in Ontario speaking English. But hearing sometimes hearing my son's the way he will phrase things or certain words he'll say, you know, going to like a French school, right? So exclusively speaking French during the day, you can kind of
Yes.
it's just interesting. There'll be like these little pieces where I'll think, oh yeah, that's I can see where this is coming from, but that's probably not a word
Mhm.
I would use for what you're trying to say, but it fits. It's just a funny,
I
different
know.
kind of use of the language. Yeah, it's
Exactly.
yes.
Exactly. Yes, yes.
And
Yeah.
so you became a translator, interpreter,
Yes. I
and
actually became an interpreter even before studying translation officially. So my master's was in translation and interpreting, but I worked as an interpreter and translation even before then, back in
okay,
Qatar. And then I was like, I like this. I'd like to get formal education in it. So I did my master's degree in that.
yes.
And yeah, I've been working as an interpreter and translator since.
And
And I
what
love it.
what does that look like? Like what do you translate or interpret? Like what would be is it like printed like text or conversations or
So the written one is called translation and the verbal one is called interpreting. And I did mostly translation in the past, but now I'm
okay.
focused kind of solely on interpreting.
Oh, okay.
And the way I do it, it can happen in different settings. There are like court interpreters, medical interpreters over the
Right.
phone, over the video. So because of where I live and there isn't high demand in the area
Yeah.
I live in, so my work is mostly remote and over the phone or video. And the setting is mostly medical. So that's my main expertise now, where there is a patient and a doctor, and I'm the one
Okay.
in between, helping them understand each other because the patient doesn't speak English.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, it can be all different kinds of scenarios from ERs
Yeah.
to every kind of specialty you can think of.
Okay. Wow,
Yeah.
I imagine some of that would be really intense because it's not necessarily like a time limited. If you're in, you know, I'm thinking if someone's in the ER, you don't know how long you're going to be needed and I imagine things are fairly fast paced sometimes or
Yes. Yes.
yes.
Like the other time, sometimes when I receive a call, I receive it on the internet, like a platform, and there are information that I need to take from them for the records.
Yes.
And this patient couldn't breathe, so I couldn't do my work the way it's supposed to happen. I had to start
Right.
interpreting right away,
Yes.
and then at the end of the call, take the information. So yes, sometimes
Yeah.
it's like being with the medical team and
Yes.
as intense as it can get. Like I had to announce deaths to families. I had to inform,
Mhm.
like a few last week or 2 weeks ago was it that I was interpreting for elderly parents in their 80s and 90s, and they
Mhm.
had to make a decision for their son who was in ICU to either
Oh my
resuscitate or
gosh.
not. So even giving that news, thinking that, oh my gosh, these are like elderly people and they have to
Yes.
witness the death of their son.
Yes.
So yeah, it's like being exposed to all of that. But I feel like any other medical professional, once you're exposed to it, like I've been doing this for 10 years now. At the
Okay.
beginning, it was much harder. There are times that I still find it hard, depending on what's happening in my personal life sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and then it can be a little triggering. But otherwise, yeah, you have to be stay composed and do your
Yes.
job and move on with your life after the call. It's yeah.
Yes. Yeah. How do you do that? What have you like over this period of like over the 10 years, you have this intense experience, very like vulnerable experience with these people that you're supporting, and then, you hang up the call. Um, what have you kind of like developed like strategies or ways to just like be able to process that or shift between that work and then everything else you do in your life?
I don't know if I did anything consciously about it, but I
Hmm.
remember once years ago, towards the beginning of this remote work that I'm doing, that I was on a counseling session, therapy session, and the
Hmm.
patient was very depressed. He had severe depression,
Hmm.
and the call lasted at least 2 hours. And I remember feeling really down after it. And then I thought to myself, this cannot happen. I need
Mm.
to keep going with my life. So
Right.
I think just internally, I learned to put a barrier between, okay, I am in this mode, and then
Right.
I feel I empathy and help them as much as I can. I remind
Yes.
myself, what am I doing here? I'm the one just helping them communicate with the provider.
Yes.
Um, and then after that, I wish them luck in my heart, and then I keep going because that's another thing. As interpreters,
Mm.
we're not allowed to say anything from ourselves. We are only echoing what the other person is saying. So if the person is saying, I'm sick, I have to say, I'm sick in the other language. I don't say, he is saying that he is sick. So I'm
Right.
just direct echo to the voice. So sometimes even when you're speaking in the first
Mm.
person saying,
Mm.
I have headache, I have stomach ache. It's like, your ears are hearing
Mm.
that, but you're just an echo. So I have to remind myself that I was just an echo. I did my
Right.
job, I helped this person, and now back to reality.
The vast information you would have had to learn just to understand like from medical terminology or just pieces so that it wouldn't be everyday language, some of it, I would think.
Some of it, yes, but some of it, no, because the doctor is talking to a patient who's not a medical
Oh,
professional. So the
true.
doctor has to speak in a language
Yes.
that's understandable to the patient. But
Right.
I'd just say that my knowledge of the range of the diseases and the
Mm.
specialties has increased in
Hmm.
multiple languages. That maybe not everyone would know. Like I'd noticed people around me, my family members wouldn't know that what a hematologist is, for example,
Okay.
or,
Yes.
these like specialties that are not
Yes.
an everyday thing or, um,
Right.
yeah. So it's just that, but not really, medical as in medicine terms that doctors would use among themselves. No,
Right.
I'm
Right.
not really into that yet. Like you're a counselor. So imagine having a patient who doesn't speak English. It's then that you need
Right.
someone to help you understand them. And
Yes.
you can imagine all the things that are said to you when it comes to traumas and all that,
Yes.
and the interpreter is exposed to all that, and
Right.
um, you have to just
Yes.
communicate, just repeat it as if you're the patient saying it to the counselor. Yeah.
And are you primarily like English Arabic
English Arabic or English Persian. It's
or
like
English version?
back
Okay.
and forth. Yeah. So the
Yes.
patients could be Persian speakers or Arabic speakers.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes it's in other settings like the police or immigration, but
Mm.
that's the not the majority of the calls. The majority are mostly medical.
Yes. And
Yeah.
and
So
where would be your largest demographic that you're working with? Like in Canada or outside of Canada or?
it varies, mostly in the US, but there is some in the Canada. Like
Interesting.
yesterday I had a long call with Canada, It was actually interesting, and I enjoy learning a lot about it. It was an IVF session, like a woman and a doctor,
Okay.
and all this education that the doctor was giving to the patient, I'm learning as well, right? So
Right.
I was
Yes.
like, wow, this is interesting information that I had no idea about.
Yes.
I've had calls from Australia, I'm not sure, but I had calls with England as well.
Yes.
So
Okay.
so
So
in
all
yeah,
over.
mostly yeah. Canada, US, England.
Yes. Interesting. How do
Yeah.
you just thinking of like home life and for some of these calls that, you maybe don't know how long they're going to last. Um, how have you figured out, I don't want to use the word balance because I don't know if balance is like a thing in our lives, but how do you navigate that in terms of like taking calls, but then also, younger kids at home and, presence for home life. How do you figure that out?
Yeah, that's why mostly my work is when they're at school. And I
Okay.
know that they're gonna be back, let's say around, I don't know, 4 by bus.
Okay.
So or longer sometimes if they have after school activities,
Yeah.
my husband would take them. It depends. So like I know, okay, in half an hour they're gonna be home. So I usually don't take calls when it's like that close to them
Okay.
coming home. And then we spend time together, and after their bedtime, I can take calls again.
Oh, okay.
So
Right.
yeah, well, it's a
Yeah.
yeah, where the company I'm in contract with is a 24/7 thing because there are emergencies happening,
Yes.
um,
Well, and
lots
I
of
would, and
labor and
time
delivery.
changes,
Yes, and
like
time changes.
depending. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I try to not take calls when it's like, supper time and bedtime and all of
Right.
that.
Yes. So you
But
had, so you have like the writing side and then this as like a job. Um, Not that the writing isn't a job, but started as a hobby.
yes.
What led you into YouTube?
Okay, so YouTube, because I felt that I am working only by myself I work from home,
Hmm.
and um it's a way to stay connected to my colleagues who are interpreters.
Okay.
And I didn't know what I was doing with YouTube at first. Maybe I still am learning that. But at the beginning, I was at a conference. I interpreted. It wasn't really planned, but they needed someone to interpret something, and I helped. And my husband recorded it with his phone.
Mm.
And then I was like, well, let me just post it on on YouTube.
Yes.
And without any effort, it had like, I don't know, thousands of views. And
Okay.
I was surprised. I said, wow. And then I remembered when I was doing my master's degree, there
Mhm.
aren't many real life scenarios of interpreters in action between Arabic and English.
Okay.
Like you can find Spanish and English a lot more easier, or
All
English
right.
French. But
Hmm.
English Arabic, that pair was not, maybe there are like 2 or 3 videos on YouTube that were like very common among the interpreters, but that was
Okay.
it. It was very limited. And I figured people need that. Students need that. So then I
Mm-hmm.
started consciously having like interviews with people and interpreting the interviews as I'm having them so
Okay.
that
Yes.
interpreters would see me in action, would see all the mistakes that can happen, all the things
Mm-hmm.
that can go wrong, how I'm taking notes, all of it in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I thought, well, that's another means of staying in touch with that community.
Yes.
And yeah, it's mostly focused on languages and interpreting, whether it's language acquisition or
Mhm.
interpreting.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm kind of relaxed with it. Like a video or two a month is what I'm
Okay.
doing right
Yes.
now. But it's a nice way. Like people reach out, ask questions. We learn from
Hmm.
each other. I have like study groups with them, and
Yes.
um, so it's a
I
nice
can
thing.
I could see that being really valuable because like you said, when you work very independently, it's what are your learning opportunities? Once you kind of finish school and you're in a career, I could see a lot of value in having that to be able to like collaborate or see examples or ask questions to come together as a community like that.
Yes. Yes,
Yes.
and it's very, very helpful. And
Yeah.
yeah, so now because of the many questions I received, I'm working on putting um together a few courses for interpreters.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what one of the projects I'm working on right now. So
All
that they
right.
could have it because I saw the value of having it all as a formal education, whether it's in
Yes.
my book writing journey or
Yes.
my translation and interpreting, because I translated first. I had like 2 years of experience or
Yep.
so. And then I did my master's in translation. And I was like, wow, that's a lot of knowledge
Hmm.
encapsulated in this short amount of time that would have
Hmm.
taken me years to learn by myself. So
Right.
if some interpreters want to like have a short course that would encapsulate things for them, or many of the interpreters have other jobs
Hmm.
and then they do interpreting on the side, this could also help them
Yes.
to be able to have, the foundations of interpreting.
Hmm. Right, right. Because I suppose there'd be a number of interpreters who haven't gone to school for it, but are simply fluent in more than one language, and so kind of naturally just use that. Right.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
So they
What
have a
made you look to do a master's?
I didn't know how else to learn translation at that time. I don't know. Like
Okay.
online learning wasn't a thing, I guess.
Yes. Yes. Not that we're
And
old, but there was a time when it
I
wasn't
know
as common.
it wasn't like 15 years ago, but it seems like ages ago.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, so that seemed
Okay.
the natural next step to take.
Yeah.
And yeah, Canada had the same program done in 2 years, whereas England had it for 1 year. So I said, okay, I'm gonna do it in England. And
Hmm.
yeah,
Yes.
it was a project-based master's degree. And yeah, I
Yeah.
learned a lot. A
And
lot.
you got
Like
to live it, you got to live in England, which would be kind
yes.
of fun for a year.
A
Yes.
whole different experience, yeah.
Yes. So do you speak as a family multiple languages at home?
Mostly Persian now. Sometimes I still use Arabic with the children, but because we figured they're struggling even with their mother language, which is Persian, so we kind of stuck with Persian more than the Arabic.
Okay.
But yes, I try to make sure that they still understand Arabic, and sometimes we was like, okay, you have to watch this in Arabic, or
Mm,
um I'll switch to Arabic mode sometimes, but it's mostly we try to stay Persian at home. And
okay.
then, yeah,
Yes. So your husband speaks
English.
Persian as well, like as a family.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
we speak
Yeah.
Persian. Yeah.
And what do you like? I'm assuming that there's a value piece in being able to speak those more than one language, right? Or having that connection to your mother language. Um, what do you think? What do you think that offers for kids growing up, let's say, who are learning more than one language or exposed to that? Like, why is that? Why do you think that's important?
There are 2 points here that I can think of. One is if there is uh, a native language in your family, I personally think it can be either valuable or just an addition, depending.
Hmm.
Like I've seen families in which the grandchild cannot communicate with the grandparents
Right.
because the
Yes.
grandchild did not learn the native language and the grandparents lives
Yes.
elsewhere and they come for visits and
Yeah.
it's so heartbreaking to see that connection
Mm.
lost, even though the those two generations are still living and sitting next to each other and can't talk to each other.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, and with me personally, my only thing that connects me with my ancestors is my language. And
Mhm.
I've never been to the land of my ancestors, which is Iran.
Mhm.
But I have this language and I value it because I feel connected through it. Um,
Yes.
and I wanted that for my children as well. But also,
Mhm.
like generally speaking, if you don't need it as a family or in your family, I've read a lot of things that it helps or it helps the children's. I'm not a neurologist or anything, but I don't know, I don't want to say this in a way that's not scientific, but it helps the children's brains develop
Hmm.
in ways that it wouldn't otherwise. Like
Hmm.
it does something to the development of their brains cognitive
Hmm.
wise. So it's helpful.
Yeah.
But I've also heard like there are also people who say or experts who say maybe it's best to focus on one language. So I don't know. I think every parent should research that and decide what's best for their family. But
Yeah.
yeah, we
Yeah.
decided to do it this way.
Yeah. I think that's such a beautiful image just of connection through language uh, that you that I like see when you speak about it and just your connection to your ancestors. I never thought about it like that before. Again, just having only had English, like, but you're right. There's this like legacy that's there through generations through the language, which is yeah, really lovely.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Like my great grandfather was a poet,
Oh,
and I've
really?
never met him, but yeah, there are all these poems from him that are still around, and I feel privileged to be able to read them and understand them, you know.
Yes.
Um,
You have writing in your genes.
well, yeah, I never thought of it that way, but no,
Yes.
he was so good. But
Do you
uh,
go home or back to Qatar often to see family or?
I don't have any family left there, unfortunately. No, so
Okay.
I haven't been there in over 10 years now, I'd say.
Okay.
But would definitely love to take my children to show them around and see where I grew up. That would
Yes.
be a nice thing to do. Yeah.
How do you nurture and nourish that for your family?
So yeah, that's a little um I don't know how to explain that. So we are um ancestor wise, we're Persians, or from my husband's side, also they're from Iran, like another race in Iran, which is the Turkish race. But being raised in Qatar, they're Arabs. Totally different language, different culture. And when you're in a different country than all of these, which is Canada, it's not that easy to
I'm sorry, just a
instill.
sec. Don't know what's happening.
Oh, I can't hear anything.
Okay, good. Okay. Sorry.
When no worries at all. So when you're in a totally different country than all of these that you were connected to, then ooh, I felt it wasn't that easy to bring about all these cultures into our children. So we're kind of focused on the ones that run in the family, ancestor wise.
Mhm.
The Arab culture is also introduced to them sometimes, but it's not a daily thing. So yes, I would like I'd show them pictures of how things were back then in Qatar
Mhm.
and what we used to do. Um, but it was, yeah, at home we stayed with our Persian culture, and then at society it was the Arab culture, and at school it was the Arab culture. So I would love to take them and show them all of that and
Mhm.
show them, yeah, how people live there. And it's a whole different thing there.
Yes,
Yeah, that'd be
yes,
nice.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really enriching to see and yeah, learn from other cultures and
Hmm.
other
Hmm.
languages and see actually there are many similarities, even though it's different from at the first glance you have it's different, but then once you see it or learn about it more, it's like, oh, there are many similarities between all these different cultures and
Yes.
languages and backgrounds. So
Yes.
yeah, different.
Yes.
I definitely want to go back and visit and take my children and yeah, show them around. It'd be lovely.
Do you have any exciting, I mean, the coursework that you're putting together, do you
Yeah.
have any interpreting work coming up that you're like particularly excited about or book ideas coming up that you're particularly excited about?
With my book ideas, I've figured out that they're usually the idea comes at certain times randomly and suddenly, and I try to
Oh.
grasp it and implement it. Like last year, I had no plans of writing anything, but I published two books. So it's
Okay,
like
and
a
it just like came to you, or was it like people asking you for books, or where did the ideas come from?
No, no one asked me. So with the first one, it was we were going to my excuse me, my sister's baby shower. And I thought, well, I think a book about the baby that's coming would be a nice idea. So yeah, the book is about their family and it's called The Story Before I Had a Name, or Me from the I forgot the name of the title.
Because you have
I think it's called Me
16.
from the Belly. What?
It's because you have 16 books.
Yeah, well, I haven't read this one as much as I'd like to read it, but it's the story of this baby who is still in the mother's womb
Mhm.
talking and narrating this story that these are my parents, this is my
Yeah.
brother.
Mhm.
I still don't have a name, but I can't wait to come to this world. I know I'm very loved
Yes.
and yeah, I'll have lots of friends. And it's a very
Yes.
cute story.
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely gift for baby showers. But
No kidding.
so yeah, that was the first one. And then the second one was again a faith-based book. It's called Leah Celebrates the Day of the Covenant, and it's about yeah, this celebration that we have about a personage called Abdul Baha and how he was in his life. So one of the mothers, again, I had this idea, but I didn't know how to write it.
Okay.
So this mom approached me and said, well, I was just chatting with her and telling her that I have this idea and probably planning to publish this book and all of that. And
Mhm.
she said, well, I really wish there were more books for toddlers that are written in toddler language. So I don't have to read it and then explain it to my 2-year-old.
Yes.
And I was
Yes.
like, this is the idea. So I wrote it in that simplest language possible,
Right.
directed and targeted at toddlers.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was very easy to do.
Yes.
And yeah,
I
so
love
yeah,
that.
the whole book was like from the idea was there again in my mind for months and months and months, but from the time
Mhm.
I started taking action until it was in the market, it was like less than a month.
Wow, that's so
So
fast. Yes.
yeah, the illustrator was very cooperative as well. Like she really gave her full time to it to finish it in about 2 weeks. So
Yes.
so yeah, that was these are
And
the two books that just came about. So I don't know about books. I'm not gonna say I have no plans because I don't know. Last year I said no, I'm not writing any books this year, but
yes,
then here there
there they are.
there were the two books, yeah.
Yes.
So we'll see.
So maybe.
Yeah,
Okay. Fair.
maybe, maybe.
Fair
And
enough.
the courses I'm working on, and
Yeah.
one thing I'm trying to improve in career-wise is becoming more efficient as a conference interpreter. So the work I
Mm.
do right now is mostly consecutive interpreter, which is when the speaker speaks, I take notes, and I
Yes.
also had to train my short-term memory. They pause, I say what they said, and then the other person starts speaking, and so forth.
Yes.
Whereas conference interpreting is so fast paced, the brain has to work, I don't know, 10 times faster, 100 times faster to interpret as you're speaking. Um,
Yes, right, because there's no pause.
no,
It's
and there's
just
no
a,
time to, yeah,
right,
take notes
right.
or so
Mm.
I'm trying to improve more in that and see how I can find opportunities um with yeah, challenge of being a little isolated
Right.
geographical wise.
Yes.
So yeah, but I've had a few experiences and I loved it and I want to improve in that as well. So
Yes. And so is that just like practice for your brain? Like
yes.
trying, yeah.
Yeah, I need to train it more. That's it. And
Right.
be in the yeah, have more of that experience as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Very cool. Well, I'd be curious. I like this podcast started from this idea that, so often we just become very fixed in the way we see things, right? We have these like strong narratives of this is how things are. And sometimes we can get stuck in those. And and it's that idea of trying to find exceptions to the rule, like different ways, those little like moments where we might think, oh, something could be different, that we can start to kind of see other opportunities or different paths or just exceptions to maybe what we hold as very strong beliefs. And sometimes that's finding our own path and carving out, seeing there's a gap and filling it, or taking our own journey. And so for you, in doing this and kind of carving your own way, I'm curious, when do you think, was there a time in your life when you started to think like, I think I see things a little differently, or I'm noticing that, I'm taking more risks than maybe other people are, or just seeing the world in a different way. Or there's or certain experiences that really gave you the confidence to say, yeah, no, I'm just going to do this and go out there and
Hmm.
do it.
Yeah, well, these topics come up a lot in therapy sessions, right? So no, I do them regularly, so I take them regularly. So yes, I have reflected a lot on that. And one thing I notice that um, helps me now is that when an idea comes, there is a reason why it comes, and I shouldn't ignore it. So this idea came to me to do something because I probably have the capacity and capability to do it.
Yes.
So let's just take action and not think a lot about what can happen. And I know this happens to all of us. Like we'll get an idea about anything
Yes.
and we know that it's within our limits to do it, but then there's that hesitation, there's that fear, there's these,
Yes.
I don't know, whatever you may call them.
Yeah.
You probably
The
have
que
lots
no,
of names for them.
but we do. We question. We're like, that's a great idea for somebody else, or
Yes,
I'm not ready
yes.
for that, or there's too much risk. Yeah.
But then just take action and see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? It's not going to happen. Like you'll decide, you'll figure out either it's going to work or not.
Yes.
And when I was younger, um, well, I don't know. The upbringing we had as a society over there was that like really focused on academics. So
Okay.
that's one thing almost every child wanted to do to please their parents and their family, and that was no exception. But so when I was younger, like throughout my schooling, the system over there was like by percentages. So um I'd always score above 95%, but every time um, my dad would ask me, like, of course, my parents would be happy and all, but my dad would
Yes.
always ask me, could you have done better?
Mm.
And I know that question in itself could have its pros and cons, but my
Mhm.
answer always was yes, because I knew I could do better, but I didn't put my full effort into it.
Mm.
So the last year of school, which was the most important year, like the
Mhm.
system over there was like grade 12 determines
Okay.
what you can study at university and
Okay. Yeah.
what specialties you can enter or not. It was just the 1 year.
Wow.
So I thought, okay, this year I'm gonna put all my effort. And if my dad asks me that question, I want to be able to say no. This was my very
Mm.
best. And I surprised myself. I scored the fourth highest grade in the whole nation.
Wow. It's really
And
impressive.
I know. So I was like, if I set my mind into something and I
Mm.
put my full effort into it, I know I
Mhm.
can achieve it. Like
Mhm.
I didn't want to be one of the, five top students, but I was like, okay, one of the 10 top students would be good enough, even if I'm the 10th.
Mm.
But I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I could do this because I
Right.
really, really had a plan of action. And I never studied like that in my whole life.
Mm.
I really studied, like my day and night was studying,
Yes.
and that was, yeah, again, that was a
Mm.
little, maybe I noticed at that time, even a little bit younger, that I'm really focused on academics more than, what teenagers like to do and
Mm.
having fun and the social life. I put everything aside in that year just
Right.
to, focus on that. So yeah,
Yes.
it's doable. It's not easy.
Mm.
And maybe that's one of the things that gives me
Mhm.
confidence, or sometimes even now when I feel, oh, I don't think I can do this, but then I remember, okay, I did something very difficult at some point in my life, so
Yes.
maybe I should give this a try and do it. But
Yes.
yeah, there's a whole system
Mm.
to it that it's
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of focus, a lot of effort,
Yes.
and it will be doable. So yeah, so I think that's one of the things I try to remind myself that,
Mhm.
and I didn't know, like it was another thing that we should tell ourselves that there's no effort that goes unrewarded. Somehow
Mm.
we will be rewarded for that effort. The universe will reward us. We will feel better. We will improve. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just did that just to prove a point to probably my parents at that time. But the surprise was that I had no clue about when I went to register at the public university back there, is that they just gave me a piece of paper and said, just fill it out. And I was like, what is this? They said, you're on full scholarship because you're one of the top tens on the country. I'm like, what?
Wow. Right.
So yeah, I studied for free. So it was something. And I was like, wow,
Yes.
I had no idea that this was even an option, but I was rewarded for it. So yeah, these are little things that I keep on reminding myself about, that just do
Yeah.
the effort and be sure that it's not going to be wasted. Even if you don't continue this route,
Yes.
you're somehow rewarded for it, for that effort. And
Yeah.
you never know. You might succeed. You might surprise yourself and say, "Oh, it
I did it.
worked." So
Yeah. That's actually really, that's really neat how you put so much effort into that year just because you were like, this is important, I want to do it without even knowing the potential of the reward. Like
yeah,
that's very cool because it was obviously like more of an internal drive of
yes,
I need to
yes.
try this and see what I can do. And then yeah. Do you still hear your dad's voice in your head of could you have done better?
Maybe.
Sometimes those questions stick with us. I don't know.
I know. Maybe it's not in his voice. Maybe now it's my own voice. But
Mm,
yeah, I think
yeah.
I ask myself that quite often, to be honest. And that's why, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, we can look at it as something good or something bad. That balance that we don't know what is, if we bring it in, maybe
Exactly.
it can be a
Yes.
good thing.
Yes. Yes.
Sometimes I wonder if I should have focused more a lot on my social life when I was a teenager
Mm,
rather than my academics. I don't know, but this is how things turned out, and
yes.
we
Well,
should be grateful.
2026, it can be the year of your
Yeah,
social life.
yeah. No, things have changed a lot since then, but
Yes.
yeah, but
Thank
yeah, of
goodness in
course. I
some
mean,
ways.
that those first experiences shape a lot of
Hmm.
who we are later in life, for sure. Yeah.
Hmm. And I think, and I like what you kind of highlighted because I think it's important too. There's that piece that we're then able to say, this feels hard, but wait, I have done hard. It gives us that foundation to say, no, I actually like did do something really difficult, or I have been challenged before. So, the challenge might be new, but I the facing of it and some of those insecurities or questions or self-doubt that comes up, you know, that's not new. I've overcome that before. And so I think those being able to remember those experiences, I think is really important too, to say, yeah,
Mhm.
I've navigated that. I have some skills there, that I can use going forward. I think that's important.
Yeah.
Mm.
And another thing, another piece at that time was my parents had a lot of trust. Like I'd see other families whose parents would always tell them, go in your room, study, and tomorrow's an exam. We have to be home at this
Mhm.
time.
Yes.
My parents never did that. Like I could watch a movie the night before my exam, and
Mm.
they'd be so confident that
Yes.
Alhan will do good. And that confidence in itself scared me. It's like,
Mm.
they have so much confidence in me, I better stick to that standard. Like,
Mm.
because I had a lot of freedom that I'd see many of my friends did not have. They couldn't go out the night before the
Right.
exam. I could. If I would decide, like, I need to study or I've studied enough, I need to take
Yes.
a break. So that I feel that confidence is
Mm-hmm.
also an important piece from the people around us, because
Hmm.
that gave me the freedom to decide for myself that I
Yes.
want to do this,
Yes.
or I want to study more, or probably if my grades were lower, they'd also like have more rules for me, but I didn't have as much rules as many of my friends. So I was like, oh,
Yes.
I better keep that lifestyle going and
Right.
have that freedom going. So I'll study
Yes.
more.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah, but I mean, that let you
I
develop
don't know.
from an early age that kind of autonomy over your schedule and your abilities and figuring that out. That's a
Yeah.
special gift to get that from your parents, I think.
I know. And looking back
Yeah.
at it, I was
Hmm.
like, I don't know
That's,
how conscious they were of that, but
yes.
I feel very gifted in that. Like they gifted
Mm-hmm.
that to me, their confidence. And I didn't see it as anything. Now that I'm a parent, I think about it more. It's like just give the children more space to
Mm-hmm.
think and decide and
Yes.
tell them like that you trust them, and then
Yes. Yeah.
they're gonna surprise us. Yeah.
Yes. They always surprise
Yeah.
us.
I know.
Yes.
So yeah.
Is there anything we didn't get the chance to touch on that you wanted to share?
I can't think of anything. Thank you so much. I
Okay.
talked about things that I didn't think I'll talk
Oh,
about.
well, I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I really
Uh,
enjoyed getting to hear more of your story and hear more of your journey and what you're doing. So, thank you for your time. Thanks for listening to Exception Seekers. Tune in again as we continue to seek overlooked stories that offer new perspectives, disrupt limiting beliefs, and inspire transformative approaches to nurturing youth mental health.
This podcast was produced by North Star Networks, the guiding light for progressive media.